Judicial Watch president, Tom Fitton. He filed a FOIA investigation request. Also, investigative reporter Sarah Carter, Fox News legal analyst. We count on him, obviously, a lot. Greg Jarrett is with us. Tom, let's start with you. And it wasn't only Weissman who's praising a woman, an Obama holdover, that disobeyed a direct order of her boss, the President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Yeah, there were other lawyers in the Justice Department, senior officials, one in the financial fraud section, former U.S. attorneys who ended up getting fired, in retrospect, quite rightly, by President Trump. But Weissman, it's very serious because he is the #2 under Mueller, and he was praising misconduct by the former acting Attorney General Sally Yates. She was fired, quite rightly, by President Trump for refusing to follow his direction to defend a lawful regulation, this temporary ban on immigrants from several countries. So this is a real concern for anyone who wants fair administration of justice out of the Mueller investigation.
Is he like Strzok, compromised? Is he a Trump hater? Because I interpret that as being a Trump hater and a Hillary supporter.
Listen, you praise lawlessness against President Trump. I think it's fair to say you don't like President Trump. And he shouldn't be anywhere near this investigation. And it's strike 2 in the least for the Mueller investigation. We've got Peter Strzok. Now we have Weissman. And if I were General Flynn's lawyers, if I were Manafort's lawyers, I'd be screaming to the courts right now, what is going on here? Why hasn't this been disclosed? Strzok, by the way, he was fired back in July, Sean.
Unbelievable.
And Mueller and the Justice Department, his nominal supervisors at the Justice Department, withheld this information from the American people in Congress. And I tell you, it's at the point where we may need a special counsel for the special counsel. That's how out of control things are.
Sarah Carter, you began this all last night with this guy Strzok and literally, him being removed. Now we find out tonight that the girlfriend is removed, and we find out that the #1 hitman with the most atrocious, unethical background and record and failure, Andrew Weissman. Why was he ever appointed by Robert Mueller with that background? A 9-0 decision, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Well, I think what's most stunning here is his relationship with Sally Yates and the relationship among the people inside the Department of Justice, that they felt so comfortable sharing these emails with one another on their office email accounts. And not only that, think about the relationship he had with Sally Yates. I think there's a serious conflict of interest here, according to a number of sources that I've spoken with in law enforcement, in the intelligence community. They've said, look, she was after Flynn from the beginning. And if he is this close to her and he has this much respect for her based on a decision where she basically went against the President of the United States, this should be called into question. And, Tom isn't the only one that keeps saying there needs to be a special counsel for a special counsel. I'm hearing that a lot right now.
I am too. Greg Jarrett, you are saying tonight in a column that Andrew Weissman must resign or be fired immediately. I don't even know. Why was this man even hired with that atrocious? He wrecked tens of thousands of people's lives. Innocent people went to jail because of Andrew Weissman. Robert Mueller had to know this.
Of course, because Weissman worked for Mueller not once but twice as special counsel for the FBI. They're longtime colleagues and friends, which is why Mueller hired him, and maybe hired him because Mueller knew of the hidden political agenda that Weissman harbored. Look, not only should Weissman be fired immediately, but the entire staff of Robert Mueller is rife with corrupt motives and political prejudice. It was entirely stacked against Donald Trump. And so what should happen now? Mueller should be dismissed. The entire staff should be fired, and a new special counsel should be appointed.
Who can do it?
Well, Rod Rosenstein could do it, but he won't do it because he's conflicted as well. He's both prosecutor and witness in this case.
It's like these people all are together in everything.
The Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, who recused himself from the case, should unrecuse himself for the sole purpose of firing Mueller and the staff and appointing a new special counsel, and then disassociate himself from any of the oversight.
Tom, respond to that.
Yeah, I agree. Mr. Mueller is being treated as if he's king of the Justice Department. He's got this enormous budget. I guarantee you there's no other investigation that this Justice Department is conducting that has the resources allocated to it that Mueller has. And it's being used for what? To investigate mortgage fraud? To investigate a penny ante perjury charge that was a result of an ambush interview by an enemy of the president and a supporter of Hillary Clinton? President Trump should order the Justice Department to fire Mueller. The Justice Department has had their chance to rein this guy in. They haven't taken it, and the president needs to exercise the constitutional options he has to protect the American justice system.
Between the role of Strzok, Sarah, and the role of Comey and the role of everybody else here, Comey writing the letter and Strzok, editing the letter, they were exonerating Hillary before they did the investigation. That renders that investigation meaningless to me. Amen. Where's the Attorney General? Where's the special counsel to do a real investigation? Because we know crimes were committed in this particular case.
Well, and I think what we're going to see, Sean, is the Inspector General's report. We're going to see parts of that report before December. We're going to see other parts of his report coming out after January. And they are looking at Peter Strzok. They're looking at Comey. They're looking at 27 leakers. It would not surprise me if there is a shakeup at the FBI and
I'm
house
hearing
cleaning.
rumors it's coming as soon as this week, perhaps.
That's right. I'm also hearing the same, and I think that one thing that we're lucky with here is that the layers of this onion have been peeling back, and we've been able to get information slowly, but we've been able to get information that's exposing it for what it is, and I think that's the most important thing right now.
And it really, I've got to lay the foundation and then give the new information. So this is complicated, but it's obvious what's going on. Greg.
What's astonishing is that one man with a political agenda exonerated Hillary Clinton and then simultaneously launched the investigation
really because it was really
against President Trump.
And Comey. That to me is obstruction, isn't it?
Well, of course, it could be. If Comey and Strzok ignored incriminating evidence and instead decided to clear Hillary Clinton for political purposes, that is obstruction of justice. And there ought to be a case brought against them if that happened.
It's a national disgrace.
It is.
What the Mueller's team is a national disgrace. It is a travesty of justice. It is a travesty to exonerate somebody for political purposes and literally before the investigation is done. I'm just out of time.
Sure.
We'll have you all back. I promise. We're not letting up.